A human emergency on Florida's shores. Migrants risking everything to live in the U.S.
Why do you want to come here?
As our waterways see an increase in people making these dangerous journeys to freedom, we're bringing you a first-hand, intimate look at the response to these landings.
For us, it's a border security mission.
And finding out what happens once migrants make it to dry land, even witnessing an emotional reunion. The impacts of this complex issue on our state and the political debates over how to handle the surge of people coming to our country illegally.
This is crazy. This is out of control. We can't sustain it.
But amid the division, we'll introduce you to Floridians answering the calls to help migrants in local communities.
They need support, they need food, they need work.
Nada en Cuba.
We're diving into all of this in this Florida 24 Network special, Landing in Florida, the State of Immigration.
Welcome to this special presentation on Florida 24 Network. I'm Jennifer Dela Cruz. Immigration is a topic we've been covering extensively in recent months. I'm joined by my colleagues, Katie Legrone, Sophia Hernandez, and Forrest Saunders. More migrants are making the dangerous journey, hoping to reach Florida's shores in search for a better life.
And we're highlighting our in-depth reporting from the number of migrants coming into our state to the federal and state responses to these landings, how the topic has become controversial and political, and of course, how it's all impacting you and your family.
We're spread out all the way down in South Florida to up here in Tallahassee. We're taking a look at the issues, the solutions, and the possible resources for those that need it. But we want to start with those migrant landings, where they happened, when the surge occurred, and how we got to this point.
But before we break down that data, we want to note that these migrants are more than just numbers. These are people who are facing challenging conditions in their home country, and they are looking to build a new life, often with just the clothes on their backs, right here in our home state. We share their stories within the next hour. With all that being said, let's walk you through this influx of migrants to our state. As of mid-May for the 2023 fiscal year, which started in October 2022, the U.S. Border Patrol reported more than 83,000 migrant encounters in Florida alone. That's compared to more than 35,000 in 2022, nearly 19,000 in 2021, and more than 15,000 in 2020. In mid-May, Title 42 expired, with the possibility of impacting this year's numbers even more in Florida. The national policy put in place in 2020 to curb the spread of COVID-19 gave the U.S. government power to swiftly expel migrants at the southern border. In recent months, we have seen migrant landings stretching from the Florida Keys to the Treasure Coast. In mid-October of last year, we told you about a surge in the Florida Keys. At one point, federal agents reported around a dozen landings in a 24-hour period. In another case, around 300 migrants arrived at Dry Tortugas National Park, causing the park to temporarily close in January. Also during that month, the Coast Guard says dozens of migrants were rescued from a crowded boat off Virginia Key. And sadly, some of these voyages turned deadly. At the beginning of March, the Coast Guard said a Haitian migrant died aboard a Coast Guard cutter after the Coast Guard stopped the boat she was in. And just days later, a crew rescued 4 migrants from a capsized boat near Juno Beach, including a child.
Give me the kid. Yeah, baby. Stay right here, buddy, okay?
According to the U.S. Border Patrol, more than 6,300 migrant children have come to Florida since October 2022. In addition, more than 65 kids have come alone without their parents.
3 days back in October 2022, photojournalist Matthew Apthorpe and I were with federal agents around the clock in the Florida Keys as they worked to keep up with a record-breaking number of migrant landings. During that time, we witnessed the very real, very human stories of men and women leaving with nothing but risking everything for a chance at a free life in the U.S. You will see blurred video throughout this special. We've chosen to blur some migrants' faces because while many arrived here illegally, we do not want to bring any additional harm to people whose legal cases may still be playing out or who may be trying to escape violence in their native country. We are, however, showing the faces of the migrants who agreed to speak with us on camera.
Take a ride along the Florida Keys, and it's clear
why this 180-mile stretch of blue water Atlantic coastline is a destination for tourists. But look a little deeper.
220, 120.
And this unique arc of islands along the Florida Straits, the southernmost point just 90 miles from Cuba,
For us, it's a border security mission.
is also the X that marks the spot for people from other countries willing to make the dangerous voyage on water
They can spend weeks at sea here.
with the chance for freedom on land.
The dangers is the first thing that stands out.
Assistant Chief Patrol Agent Adam Hefner is with U.S. Border Patrol's Florida sector, where he says the Florida Keys has been dealing with an unusual surge in migrant landings, up 450% from October 2021 to October 2022.
This is the most landings that I've seen. Predominantly been Cuban and Haitian migration.
In the 4 days prior to our arrival, Border Patrol had reported 15 separate landings, leaving hundreds of men and women entering the state illegally, often in dangerous homemade rigged-out boats like this one.
I'm surprised when some of these homemade or makeshift boats do actually even make it.
Their arrivals frequently at night, amid cooler temperatures and darker skies. All right, it's just after 2 a.m. Tuesday morning. We just got a call that there are about 25 to 30 migrants who landed on a boat over in Key West. So that's about 50 minutes, maybe a little less because there's no traffic from where we are here in Marathon. So we are going to head over there now.
So many migrants on scene, we're actually going to bring 2 transport vans so we have space to adequately transport all of them. So here comes our other van right now.
How long can you guys sustain this type of activity where it's just constant like this?
Tighten things up and work, all of the partners provide some extra support.
When we arrive, some of those partners are already on scene.
What's up, guys? Fair warning, we have media with us.
Along with 25 Cuban men and women, visibly exhausted, some even shoeless. But all of them appearing relieved to be on dry land after they describe 3 days at sea. Are you happy to be here?
¿Y cómo sientes para estar aquí? ¿Estás bien?
For this 22-year-old who agreed to speak with us on camera, the 3-day journey was worth it. She's seeking work to help family who couldn't come. What do you want from America? Same for this man, dressed in USA red, white, and blue.
Be able here and help his family and have a better life.
He arrived needing medical attention after he says he cut his hand simply holding on to a boat they could not control.
As a matter of fact, unless they were holding on, if they let go of the handle, it would. They were unable to stop it.
The boat seen here eventually crashed into a Navy vessel near the base where they all landed. The group says they each paid between $2,000 and $3,000 US to get here. They'll spend the next 12 to 72 hours getting processed before they're released, but kept under federal monitoring as their immigration proceedings officially begin. They join more than 100 additional Cubans who within the same day also made it to shore here.
We've responded to 11 different migrant landings throughout the Florida Keys.
In just 24 hours?
In just 24 hours.
We're on the water.
I was going to run to the Haitian self-freighter real quick.
With federal agents.
This target at the moment is a little over 16 nautical miles offshore.
From Air and Marine Operations.
Coming up.
A specialized law enforcement division of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Their mission: stop migrants from making it on land in the U.S. illegally.
It's getting tough because it's a numbers game.
Freedom-seeking migrants, mostly from Cuba and Haiti, are often willing to do anything and risk everything to get here.
I've seen people that have shot themselves. I've seen people that have tried to cut themselves.
Marine Interdiction Agent John Apollony has been patrolling the waterways in the Keys
829-853
since 2009.
The thought process is if I injure myself enough that they'll have to take me to a hospital.
With so much attention focused on the influx of migrants crossing the southwestern border, here in the southeast,
here on the ocean, totally different set of problems. It's the most I've seen since I've been here.
According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, more than half of all migrant interdictions at sea in the U.S. are conducted by the Miami Air and Marine Branch, which includes the Florida Keys. In 2022, those units apprehended 139 migrants on water. For comparison, in 2021, that number was 54. Does something more need to be done to secure our borders?
We have a finite number of agents and assets. So that being said, it does get tougher every day with the more that come, the harder it is on us.
To help control the surge, agents from borders around the country are now doing 30-day rotations here. This agent hails from the northern border in Michigan.
Plotting a course to a possible target of interest.
Stopping people from entering the state illegally on water.
33.5 nautical miles west of us.
Begins with tracking them in the air. Once air crews spot suspicious boats, the Marine team in these high-tech boats move in.
It's been almost daily.
It doesn't take long to get a new alert.
Right now we know of one rustic vessel and possibly a go-fast vessel.
Troy 014 also.
Go-fast boats like these have long been used to smuggle in desperate migrants. These are just a few images of recent captures and the sometimes dozens of migrants hidden inside.
Oh, wow.
On this day, their target is some 40 miles southeast of Marathon.
This is our first interdiction of the day.
As we inch closer, we can see the vessel is homemade, known as rustic for its rickety build, often shoddy mechanics. But it's packed with people, mostly men, a few women, all from Cuba.
Are they typically repeat?
So, yeah, I mean, we've found some that have been, once they run biometrics, that have been into the country before. Sometimes they even have Florida driver's licenses. So they'll make it here, they'll get some kind of status, and then they'll go back for one reason or another.
With partners from the U.S. Coast Guard in tow, the group is given life jackets and quickly transferred to a federal vessel. We get the clear, it's safe to approach.
How are you? ¿Cómo estás?
They smile, some wave at our cameras, answer our questions, even take out phones to capture the moment.
¿Qué quieres de América? Why do you want to come here? In Cuba? Nada en Cuba. This group of migrants just told us they've been traveling on the water for 8 days to try to make it to America from Cuba because there's nothing in Cuba. And they were just interdicted, which means Coast Guard's they're going to load up on the Coast Guard cutter and they're going to be sent back to Cuba. That's the chance they take.
A closer look at their wood frame boat.
Jugs are for water or fuel.
Shows just how risky this week-long journey was. The first interdiction of the day, complete.
Everybody was safe. That's all you can hope for.
And on to the next one.
And on to the next one.
I grew up in South Florida. Watching the news of people coming ashore here isn't anything new. But being on the ground there, quite literally in the middle of those interactions, was a humbling recognition of the humanitarian crisis at play here. From the federal agents who don't always know the intent of the people they approach, to the exhaustion and pure relief of those who do make it to land. And of course, the frustration and sadness of those who don't and are turned around and sent back from a place they were willing to die to escape.
Our special reporting continues after the break.
Seeing the desperation and most of all seeing the joy once the family find out their family are fine is like a fire.
Migrants making the dangerous voyage to our state are often leaving behind loved ones with no way to reach out. The way one Floridian is using social media to help give those families some peace of mind.